Part of my personality is I always want to come up with something clever, something that's going to be meaningful to you. And hopefully every Sunday is meaningful to you. And sometimes I feel like I'm clever and sometimes, and I was reminded this week that I really only have one sermon, and I try and find a whole bunch of different ways to express that sermon, because it's been said that every minister really only has one sermon, and they try and find different ways to be creative with that sermon. And when you get into the never-ending stretch of Sundays, sometimes you have to figure out ways of coming up with different ways to say the same thing in different ways. And what I'm aware of is that the highest call of my heart is that I want to be of service to you. That's the bottom line. That I want to be of service to you, that there's a sacred relationship that we live in the midst of. That on Sunday mornings, I have the great honor and privilege, really, of standing here to deliver something. And you hopefully listen and metabolize it somehow, and that it goes to the places in your life that it's meaningful for you. That it does something for you. And I sit sometimes during the course of the week and I think, what is this community, what's on our collective heart? There's the individual and then there's the collective of the community that we're creating. And I think, what would you want to hear? What would be meaningful? And I think that, we just celebrated the 4th of July, right? So around every 4th of July, could be a message of freedom, right? Where our freedoms, the freedom of a country, where those freedoms come from, what the basics of why was there a new country formed called the United States of America, the whole idea of freedom from tyranny, and we could go to a lot of places with that, couldn't we? Where does tyranny mostly take place? In our own lives, in our own consciousness. We terrorize ourselves with thoughts of lack and limitation and thoughts of fear and thoughts of otherness and thoughts of someone maybe is out to get me, or, I don't like the way that they do it, or this type of, all sorts of things that we could think of, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We could go some places with that. But what I'm more interested is if you would indulge me with a willingness to be a little bit vulnerable this morning, is I would like to hear briefly what's on your heart and speak to it. And what I mean is, in the meditation, I asked where you might be stuck. Historically, ministers have do this thing maybe once or twice a year called Question and Answers on the Science of Mind, or Stump the Minister, like, let me come up with something, some sort of principle or idea or something that I'm struggling with, and let's see if I can stump the minister. Maybe they won't have an answer for me. Maybe I could, come up with something that's beyond the scope of their knowledge or awareness or something like that. And I'm not interested in being stumped, but I am interested in being helpful and useful. And what I want to ask in your vulnerability is there a place in your life where you're feeling stuck? Is there a question that you've been dancing with? Is there an idea about principle that you feel a little confused by? Is there something on your heart that's really you're wrestling with? And can you put that into the form of a question that we might unpack, that I might unpack, hopefully in a way that's meaningful to you? In other words, how does the creative process work? Or how does the creative process work in my life? And then I could share an answer on that. But for the next 15 or 20 minutes or so, and it does require vulnerability. It requires you to share something about your life. But is there a way that principle hasn't quite shown up in your life you're frustrated by? Something that we can create a little bit of community here, a question that's dancing on your heart. And if no questions come up, then I'll speak about something for 15 minutes. I mean, if we don't want to go, but it does, I'm aware of it. I was driving in thinking, I don't even know if maybe people don't want to do that. Maybe people don't want to be that vulnerable. Maybe we want to come and listen on Sunday mornings. And I understand that, but I'm taking a little bit of a risk here. And I'm asking, is there something that you're dancing with? Because here's what's so as well, is that, and we know this from classes, is that anytime one person brings something up, there's a gift for everybody else in it. It's not just personal. There's a universal good that is being revealed. So I'm going to shut up for a moment, and I say that to myself in the most beautiful way. I'm going to be quiet. Is there something that's dancing on your heart that you're seeking an answer for? And I'm not claiming to be the answer man, but I'm saying that we can explore spiritual principle in a way that's personal to you this morning. So are you dancing with anything? Are you wrestling with anything that you're frustrated by? Yeah, good morning.
I think a lot about my motherness because I have been gifted with beautiful people that have come into form through me. I have a great tendency to feel responsible for the spiritual evolution of my beautiful people.
Your family?
My family.
Your offspring. Okay.
And that doesn't always work because I am not responsible. I want my wisdom, the learning I have here, the community I have here, I want that to be my gift to them, not my feeling nervous about their evolution, and let them try it on for size. I would love courage to do that, to not feel so responsible for them that I fuss and be a fuss budget.
A fuss budget? A fuss budget. Has anybody heard that before? Yeah? Okay. Okay. My first time. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
Sharing that same, well, if I could only do it this way for them.
Yeah.
With them,
Yeah.
let them do it my way.
Yeah.
And so I think my question, my longing is coming in that. Being part of the awareness that we have here. And how do I do that?
Yeah. So did anybody not hear Jan? There was with her children, with her offspring, with her family, we'll say that, she feels some level of responsibility wanting to make sure that they get something about the spiritual life, about who they are, and wanting to control that maybe a little bit or have some more influence about it. Yeah, yeah. Would you say that codependency comes into it in any way? Okay, okay. I don't want to put words necessarily, just asking questions.
Yeah.
Right? Who in here struggles with codependency in any way in your life? Yeah. And so we want something to happen for somebody else, right? We want to sometimes make that thing happen. One of the fundamental things about the spiritual path is losing control. Is the idea of getting in context and getting in right relationship with what we have control over, which is so very little. What we have control over is our mind, our own mind, right? And our own body. And beyond that, what do we have control over? Nothing. And so from a standpoint of cause, I thank you for your vulnerability and being able to put that forward. It's meaningful for all of us, isn't it? To be able to start having the conversation. Yeah. So in parenting, you know, what we can do is rear our children when they're young, and then when they become adults, what happens is they go off and they get to have their own life, right? One of the things, my sister was going through a long time, about 20 years ago, she was going through something in a relationship, and I wanted to get in there and I wanted to do something, right? And it involved these. I was reacting big time. It involved these, it involved some of this, it involved, and I went to one of my spiritual teachers, and I was up against it with this whole thing. I wanted to go do something about it. And a hard truth was taught to me that day, and that person said to me in no uncertain terms that her relationship is none of your business. It's none of your business. That was the hardest thing for me to hear because I want to make everything my business. And that's my problem in life, is I want to make everything my business. I want to make whether you're enjoying this Sunday morning my business. You know what I'm saying? And right now it's our business. But what can we do? What we can do over and over again is surrender in the most beautifully spiritual way. And that is to trust somehow. What do we know about the creative process at this point, Game? And the creative process is revealing itself everywhere in our lives. What we know about the creative process is that we must plant our seeds and then leave them in the ground to grow. We must plant our seeds and then leave them in the nourishment of the creative spirit to grow. And that's what we must do with our families as well. We must be farmers. That's what we must do in our own lives, period. In all of our lives is think of ourselves as a farmer. We continue to plant seeds, continue to nourish and nurture them, but then realize that we don't have anything to do with the soil making a seed grow, do we? But sometimes what we do is we plant a seed and then we get in there and what do? We check. We talked about this in class on Tuesday night or the night before. We plant a seed in there and then what do? We get in there and check the seed. Or do you or overwater it? You check. You check. Do you want to weigh in on this thing? Let's get it. Let's do it then. Go ahead.
I think the thing about, and I from my training back when I trained as a healer, one of the things that I learned was that people have addictions.
Yes.
And control is a very
Is an addiction. Mm. Yeah.
That if you are trying so hard in control, you are not trusting spirit.
That's right. That's right. She said, when I'm trying to be control so hard, I'm not trusting spirit. And so that's where our spiritual practice comes into play. That's why I'm not trusting. Spirit is just another word for that soil, right? When we're planting seeds. Trust is one of the hardest things for us to get on the spiritual walk. Trusting that all of my life, that I live in a spirit, I've said this a number of times, that I live in a spiritual system that's designed to support me. But if I'm constantly checking, I know where I planted that seed, I've got charts and graphs, and I'm constantly going to check that seed, I'm not allowing it to grow. I'm not allowing the presence to do its thing. So we have to keep doing what we know is our truth, moving in that affirmative way, speaking these words of affirmation with intensity and enthusiasm. And intensity doesn't have to look like, oh, the Spirit of God is my life. It's just an inner conviction, right? It's just an inner awareness. And so I speak that with conviction. And then what do I have to do, Jan? And it's so hard as I have to let go. To trust the Spirit. Yes.
The choices that they've made.
Haven't always been happy with the choices they've made. No.
Choices they made, but
I'll do my best to summarize as well. Yep.
if I interfere, or if I try to give them my so-called advice, they don't appreciate it. And so the thing that I found works the best is just to pray for their highest and best to unfold.
Yeah.
You know?
Pray for their highest and best to unfold. Lisa's got 4 grown children. She said one of the things she can do is just pray for their highest and their best. Also realize, though, one of the principles that we hang our hats on, gang, is that all of the Spirit in its fullness is everywhere present. This is one of the principles that we talk about. So there can't be more God here than there is over there. And that means that everywhere your 4 children are, that right where they are, that right where Jan's kids are, that right where your life is, right where Thomas is, and right where Robin is, all of the power and presence of the Spirit is. And then what our fundamental job is through our spiritual practice is to uncover that, is to discover that. See, it's like we're born into this world and then we're hypnotized by it. We're hypnotized by being a parent. You know, some of the most profound, like Rumi's poem, right? Who are your children? Your children aren't your own, said Rumi. Their life's longing to express itself. That's tough work. Is that Gibran? Excuse me, Gibran, Khalil Gibran. Your children, their life's coming into expression to express itself, right? But one of the things that we get super hypnotized is being a parent, or being a boss, or being a minister, or being a partner, or being the son or the daughter. Our spiritual practice, our prayer is where we can disconnect from those and they're the things that give our life meaning, right? They're beautiful things. It's not to say there's anything wrong with it, right? It's just to get to that place of spiritual power and spiritual authority, we have to have those times of renewal, of rejuvenation, of right context. That I am more than this. I am more than just this human expression. I am a spiritual being having the human experience. Who has it said that? Desjardins, I think. Yeah. Spiritual being having a human experience. That's each one of us. But gang, it's not going to, I mean, real talk is it's not going to matter if we're not doing our practice. If we're not doing the things that are necessary in order for us to kind of disconnect from time to time and get right context or right perspective, it's not, we're just going to keep having the same issues show up over and over again. Do we like that? Anybody here have the same issues show up over and over again? Yeah, I mean, but then what do we know? If the same issue keeps showing up over and over again, we have a solution all around us to do our practice, to disconnect, to detach a little bit, to get right context of it. Oh, to consider my daughter, my son, my partner. All of their life exists within this expansive, expanded idea of the Spirit, of life-giving goodness of love, and that their life is wholly and fully within the Spirit. Now, that's tough to look at when we're talking about drug addiction, right? We're talking about any sort of addiction. We're talking about things that could appear to tear life apart. That's when that broader context, when that work is so important for each one of us, which is why I asked initially, where are you stuck? Where am I stuck? Am I stuck in a health challenge? Am I stuck in a financial challenge? Am I stuck in a relationship challenge? Am I stuck in a creative challenge? Et cetera, et cetera. What else is going on? Anybody? Yeah, good morning. Jealousy.
Who I'm out with, the beautiful girls,
Mm.
all of a sudden, I don't want to say 76, but I hold space with 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
Variety is one of the reasons.
Name is nature. Yeah.
It's been difficult for me to, that's when I say rethink and reboot, because I feel like backing out, like backing away from their lives, give them space.
Mm.
Give themselves space. Create community of like-minded people that are of the faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love these people. I love the camaraderie and the playfulness and everything I get there.
Yeah.
And to just disappear is not the answer.
No, no. Linda's saying that she's of a certain age and that she hangs out with people of a certain age, and sometimes there's some jealousy that goes along there. What you're sharing, and she doesn't want to just pull away from that community. She wants to participate with that community, yes, but there's an inner dialogue that's going on. It makes me think of the comparison game. Sometimes we play the comparison game, right? Like, they've got it all together, and maybe I don't, or they're younger and I'm older and I can't relate, et cetera, et cetera. Whoever wins the comparison game? Nobody wins the comparison game, right? Yeah, and thank you for your willingness to be vulnerable and share. Nobody wins the comparison game. What's the only thing that we can do in the midst of that is align ourselves with the Spirit. Align ourselves with the truth. That I am who I am. I'm at this particular point in life, and I'm going to play the game. I'm going to play the game. And so Linda has an awesome opportunity to remember who she really is. Daily, we have an awesome opportunity to remember who we really are. Every single day, an awesome opportunity to remember who we really are. And we take that opportunity in our spiritual practice. And then, from a place of service, because this reading this morning talked about when we're in service to life is when we're the most happy. When we're in a place of service, we bring all others into that remembrance. We bring all others into that idea that they're right where they are is the presence and power and love of the Spirit as well. And so then all of us are remembering, I'm remembering in my own consciousness, you're remembering in your own consciousness that there's as much life happening right here as there is anywhere else. Right where I am, there's life happening. And I get to express it. And if you're to excuse yourself from these situations that you're in, you're not giving the rest of the world an opportunity to experience your blessing. You're not allowing the rest of the world to experience your bliss. When we're in service to each other, we allow each other to experience the gift that we are and that they are. We allow each other to experience the beauty. You are a living reminder of beauty for people. You can't take that away from somebody. You are a living reminder of the goodness. For somebody in your life, you are a living reminder of the glory of God. A living reminder of the power, the presence, the beauty, the light. Somebody needs your light. We can't hide our light under a bushel. No. What are we going to do? We're going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Preach.
That's, and the comparison game, we kill ourselves when we do that. These people need you. Yes, that's it. And say that with enthusiasm. Yeah. Yes. So just getting into right relationship with self. Let's get into right relationship with self. That you are the beloved in whom the Most High is well pleased. Say, I am the beloved. Say it. Yeah, can you feel it and know it? I am the beloved. Let's say it together. I am the beloved. Not just the beloved, but it is well pleased with Walter. Well pleased with Susan. Well pleased with Lisa. Well pleased with Demetria. Well pleased. Well pleased. One more. One more. Mary.
This is a computer wizard.
Okay.
And he spent a lot of time with me, but I had trouble following his directions. But he said, I'm going to be away for a couple weeks, but you can call me if you get stuck. So I am going to call him if I can't, if I can't get unstuck.
Yep.
Very kind and generous and everything else. And he said, call me if you get stuck.
Yep.
So I'm going to do that and trust that I'll be able to catch him and that he'll be able to tell me what I need to know.
Excellent. Good. Testify. That's like a testify moment. Mary gets stuck. She's going to call and ask for help. Codependency would say, oh no, he didn't really mean it. I'm not going to call him. But when someone says something, call and ask for help. That's awesome. Okay, one more. Anybody? Yes. Resentment. What about it? Does it keep you warm? Does it keep you warm? Are you resenting somebody? That's my...
Yeah.
What? Well,
I go in and out of this being, okay, so we're doing a lot of work, the two of us, my parents' property. And yeah, there's another sister and but we're not available. She doesn't, I don't think she can physically do the same kind of work, even though she's only 2 years older, but.
yeah.
Anyway, but I go back and forth between this being resentful of how much work we're doing, even though I know she appreciates it. I know she appreciates it.
Yep.
I don't know. I want more from her. I don't know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
And so, we're in this gorgeous place and I just keep thinking, I should just be grateful. But I get a little bitter.
Yeah. Couple things I hear in there. What one question is, what does resentment do for you? It does. Say it again. Say it again. Okay. Yeah. That's the kind of church we've got. That's what yeah. So do you enjoy feeling like shit? No, you don't? Okay. What keeps you in resentment? Think about it for a minute. Yeah, I know. Consider it for a moment. Do you feel, I mean, does it feel right? Do you feel, you get to lord something over your sister? You get to be right? Yeah, yeah,
I'm doing. I don't.
yeah, yeah. The other thing is I should be grateful, is what I heard. We live in a sea of shoulds. There's shoulds everywhere. We all experience. Yeah, yeah. No, I understand. That's another slippery slope of the spiritual path, too. Sometimes we think that we're supposed to have it all together. We think that we're supposed to be healed and whole. I've been practicing this long enough, whatever. I should have it. I should have it all together. I should be more grateful. I know enough that I should be practicing the presence every day. I should be meditating every day. People like Reverend Charles say, I have to practice every day. You should. This says you should, you must, things like that, right? And then we internalize those things, and then we realize that we're never appreciating where we are. Appreciating where I am, to stop and do a gratitude list. There's something about resentment. I'm going to actually just kind of, resentment doesn't do anything for any of us, right? Well, we've probably heard it all, that resentment is a poison pill that we take expecting the other person to be affected, right? And it doesn't work, does it? Because where is the resentment taking place? Yeah, where is our life happening? Right here. This is the most important relationship that we have. You're going to give yourself an extraordinary gift of freedom and peace when you can lay resentment down. When you can lay that, my sister, whatever story is happening there, when you can, through the process, I'm just thinking of a number of processes we do in classes and things like that we're not going to go through right now, but when you can go through the process of realizing that your life is blessed, you're not going to need to hold resentment toward anybody else any longer, because your focus is where it needs to be, on the only thing that you can control. It kind of goes back to that control thing. Yeah. It's all there it's kind of it's all there for all of us. Resentment's a big thing. There's a lot of us that resent a lot of stuff. Resent what's going on, resent what's happening. I resent this person, resent. We've temporarily forgotten what's really going on. Is that my life is the Spirit, that my life is whole, complete, and perfect. And when you're coming from that place, you're not going to see anything wrong out there. And that's where the practice lies. So continue to inquire into it. Why do I resent? Why do I resent? And then take some time and just meditate on it and realize that you don't want to be in a place of resentment, do you? Do you like it? No, so you can start there. Start there and start walking out. Start there. I do not like this. I'm not having a good time being in it. Surrender it. Surrender it. Or watch it with context. Or watch it and use it as a practice. Some people have called the news or the paper the what? The prayer request. The world's prayer request. It's all about our relationship with ourselves, gang. It's all about the relationship with the self. We think things are happening out there, but it's all a projection of my own consciousness. A projection of my consciousness. So if somebody's being mean to me, a projection of my consciousness could be that I could stay in relationship with that, or I could extract myself from the situation and not subject myself to it anymore. That's my relationship with life. Make sense? Yes. Yeah. That's it. That's what we've got this morning. So let's take a moment and pray. If there's another consideration that might be on your heart, well, first of all, thank you for playing the game. Thanks for having some fun this morning with it. Thanks for being willing to express yourselves a little bit and have some fun with it. It's not just me up here talking so much, but a little bit more of a willingness to share and to create some community. That's how I've been creating community. There's some willingness, some vulnerability that takes place. And to know that we're all walking this path. None of us have it figured out, that there's always room to grow and to expand. If you have the physical capacity to and you're willing to, just take your arms and stretch them out like this without, I know maybe your eyes are closed. You can open them for a moment if you want to look and see what I'm doing. But just like this, just open yourself to more, to a growth, to a willingness, to whatever sacred prayer is dancing on your heart right now, that this is a sign, is a symbol, is a gesture that I'm willing to welcome more light in. I'm willing to welcome more love in. I'm willing to welcome more peace. I'm willing to welcome solution. Where there was resentment, now I'm welcoming peace. I'm welcoming joy. I'm welcoming right relationship. I'm welcoming beauty. Take a deep breath, move your hands down if you'd like to. I know that's a little bit of an exercise. But just feel, get a sense that there's movement, there's energy flowing, that there's goodness happening. And that we continue to speak the affirmative word, we continue to know the truth, and the truth sets us free. I'm grateful for this morning in our dialogue. I know that the presence and the power and the love of God is alive and well in this place, and it's having its way as each one of us, and we continue to set our sights at an even grander vision for our lives. Healing happens today. Why? Because we're engaged in it. We say so. We're in the process. I'm grateful for it. I call it good, and together we say, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, gang. I appreciate you all. Gene, you've got a little bit of music you're going to share with us? Thank you.